Okay, so today I got to see Les Mis at the Cadillac Theater in Chicago. Now, I've never seen the movie, nor have I actually read the book. So I pretty much have to go on based upon what I actually got to see in the actual play itself. You've got multiple subplots going on. The beautiful thing about going to see a play is it's like seeing a movie, just there's a lot more thrown into it, because you have every character gets some level of development. Probably as much as you would see in a book, but the crux of it is a man named Jean Valjean. For a long time, I always thought it was Jean Valjean, which would be B-A-L, not V-A-L, so I've always pronounced his name wrong. And he's constantly being essentially hounded by almost like an obsessive member of the police. Because initially, Jean was arrested for stealing a loaf of bread. He then ran away. So he spent like 9 years for that loaf of bread. He was off on parole, tried to get work, and he pretty much got half as much money because he always had to show his parole papers. And people were kind of like, why should he make as much as we do when we're honest men? So he's constantly cast out, can't find work. Then a bishop takes him in, and he kind of steals from the bishop. As he's going to get arrested again, the bishop's kind of like, no, 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 no. I gave this stuff to him. And he's like, use this, make a better life for yourself. Which of course he does. He essentially goes from being kind of like the town criminal to kind of being like a town hero. He runs a business. Someone else who they think is Jean Valjean gets arrested. He shows up and kind of goes, no, 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 no. This guy, no. I'm Jean Valjean. Shows the mark he has upon him. And it's like, wow. He could have pretty easily just been like, I don't say anything. This one guy pays for my crime and that's it. But he doesn't do that. Instead he actually, goes and he's like, I did this. One of his workers, had a daughter from a previous relationship, and the daughter's currently sitting in an inn. As he's still being hunted by the police officer, he counts him and he's like, okay, what that say? I'm gonna go try to save this girl. Give me 3 days. He goes there to try to save her. Doesn't quite work out as well as he would have thought. He doesn't get back in 3 days. He then decides to kind of flee to Paris. And this is where another large subplot comes into place, which is the June Rebellion. Which I actually had to look up on eBay, on Wikipedia, because we couldn't figure out what uprising that was, because it's set like in the early 1800s. And essentially, it was a one-day battle where you had a bunch of anti-monarchist students try to hold an uprising. It lasts one day, so you can kind of tell when it happens in the movie, when it happens in the play. There's a build-up to it, and they're fighting essentially to restore privilege and right to the Republic. And it doesn't turn out very well for them. So while all this is going on, 10 years has passed since Jean Valjean mentioned he was going to give himself over to the police. The little girl that he got from the inn is now a full-grown woman. She falls in love with one of the people who was one of the students. Now I'm glossing over a lot because a lot happens in this. And I do mean a lot happens in this. But by the time you get to this actual, the June Rebellion, so what you have are Jean Valjean and the arresting officer. I think it's Marius, who is one of the students in the rebellion, who is in love with. Oh, I don't want to look up her name real quick. I might have needed to. I think it was Cosette. So you've got this subplot, this subplot, this subplot. Well, there's a woman who really happens to love Marius, who's going there to help him with the rebellion. You've also got kind of like a street urchin who's trying to help them out for the rebellion as well. So you've got a lot of things all culminating in this one fairly large sequence. The police officer tries to give false information to the people of the rebellion. Well, Jean Valjean is actually there at the rebellion, trying to help them out. He essentially takes the officer and lets him go. And he's like, he's like, you're letting me go, so I won't touch you down anymore. And Jean's like, no. He's like, just go. He's like, you're going to hunt me down at the ends of the earth. You're just doing your job. I understand it. You can go. Of course, the rebellion doesn't go quite that well. Jean Valjean survives, as does Marius. Well, let me check to see if it's Marius or Darius. This is the one beautiful thing about actually having the playbill in front of you while doing something like this. Okay, it is Marius. Awesome. I wasn't wrong. He kind of survives. Jean Valjean steals him away into the sewers. So now all this is going on. You still have the police officer trying to find Jean Valjean. He eventually comes to the point where he's like, it's like, I can't arrest him. All the good that he's done in his life up to this point, he's like, he just can't arrest him. And he kills himself. Now, of course, it's being done on a stage. In the movie, he just like jumps off a bridge into water. So what they do for this, they show him kind of like falling backwards, and then to show him going towards the water, they have the background itself move. So he's stationary, but the background is moving, so he's going towards the water. They did a very good job of the practical effects for this. If you see me review horror movies, I'm a stickler for practical effects. Now, the one weird thing is the Jean Valjean storyline. I really like that. I also like the Marius Cosette storyline. I even like the Marius, the other girl who was I think it's like Alpine, something like that. I like that storyline too. But the one that I absolutely could not stand was the students holding the revolution, holding the small rebellion. It just seemed so bizarre that you had a bunch of essentially, Paris college students who were like, you know what? We love this country. So we're going to build a blockade and fight the army. Because those townspeople will join in. Townspeople, of course, don't join in. And they get slaughtered. So with June Rebellion, it's like a one-day fight. So essentially they build a blockade and they get gunned down. So all in all, what I think about Les Mis, I thought it's pretty good. It does, at like a shade under 3 hours, there are moments that do kind of drag on. But, I did definitely say that. I definitely did enjoy it. And the bright thing is, since the abbreviation is Les Mis, means it's The Miz. So how can you not like going to see The Miz? I mean, let's be honest, The Miz is absolutely awesome. So, in a way, this could also be like The Miz's life story. If he lived in the 1800s and in France.